Okay, imagine this. You settle in, you're all ready for that next episode of your favorite show, and bam, you get hit with that content not available in your region message. Super frustrating.
Yeah. Or maybe you hear friends overseas are watching new episodes like a whole week before you can.
Exactly. It feels like hitting this digital wall, doesn't it? And for a lot of us, actually, that exact moment of annoyance, that's what gets us looking into solutions, like a VPN, a virtual private network.
Hmm.
And today, we're doing a real deep dive into one specific VPN. It's one that just keeps popping up. You see it recommended all over Reddit, different forums, social media. We're talking about NordVPN.
Right? And what's interesting from our sources is that this exploration, it goes way beyond just like fixing streaming problems.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what we found really shows how NordVPN seems to offer this much broader sense of digital freedom and honestly real peace of mind.
How so?
Well, think about when you absolutely have to use some sketchy public Wi-Fi. That feeling.
Yeah, not great.
Exactly. So having that security layer gives you confidence. It's pretty fascinating, actually, how just one tool can tackle so many of these, modern digital headaches, everything from getting your shows to actually protecting your bank details.
That's a great point. So, yeah, for you listening, we've really unpacked a lot of material here. We want to understand exactly why NordVPN is seen as so effective, especially for everyday users. And what are the really key takeaways from everything our sources have shared?
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's start where it often begins, that initial trigger. Our sources really drove home that the core problem. It's usually that region-locked content.
Right.
It's that specific thing, seeing episodes air maybe a whole week earlier somewhere else, that pushes people to finally say, okay, I need a VPN. It's more than just annoying. It feels like you're sort of missing out.
It really does. And it's interesting how that specific pain point, not getting the content you want, quickly broadens out. You start thinking about digital access in general. We think we live in this globally connected world.
Yeah, seems like it.
But then you hit these walls. It makes you stop and ask, well, how much access are we really getting online if where we physically are dictates what we can see
Right.
or do or even what price we pay? What did the sources say frustrated them the most there?
Well, they talked about a journey that I think a lot of us can probably relate to. They started out trying the free VPNs first,
The usual path.
right? Then maybe trying some other paid ones. But again and again, NordVPN was the one they kept hearing about, kept seeing recommended everywhere.
Okay.
So they finally decided to go for it, used it for a good while, and guess what? They found it actually lived up to all that hype.
Ah, okay. So it wasn't just talk.
Apparently not.
Hmm.
So if that whole trial and error thing led them straight to NordVPN, what did our deep dive find? Why does it stand out so much? We've basically boiled it down to 5 key reasons it gets recommended so often. And the first one, it's critical for anything online. Incredibly fast speeds.
Always important.
Absolutely. And this seems to be a real game changer with NordVPN. They have this massive network, get this, over 7,400 servers.
Wow, that's a lot.
Isn't it spread across 118 countries? And that huge number means you get super fast, really stable connections. You can finally ditch that awful, endless buffering wheel.
Yeah.
Like our source literally said, so many servers, other VPNs just can't compete.
And if we think about the bigger picture there, speed isn't just, about convenience anymore, is it?
How do you mean?
Well, it's about making the VPN so smooth, so seamless, that it just blends into your daily digital life. It's almost invisible.
Okay, I see.
So it stops being this sort of security chore that you might just turn off because it's annoying or slow.
Yeah.
Instead, it becomes this always on invisible shield. It lets you confidently use your banking app on any public Wi-Fi without even thinking twice.
That makes sense. And that builds nicely into the second big benefit, access region-locked content and save on travel bookings.
Ah, the travel angle too.
Yeah. So obviously it unblocks content for streaming. That's often why people get it in the first place. But here's a really interesting, maybe unexpected perk our sources found. They started using it for booking flights and trains and hotels.
Really? How does that work?
Well, they found that prices for these things can actually change quite a bit depending on your digital location, where the website thinks you are. So just by switching server locations, say connecting through a server in a different country, they sometimes saved a lot, like up to 30% off.
Wow. Okay. That's significant. That really highlights this kind of unexpected economic power a VPN can give you, doesn't it? It sort of levels the playing field, giving individuals access to global pricing that maybe only big companies had before.
Yeah, exactly.
Our source has actually said things like, essential for researchers and digital nomads. I can access any site I need. And another one, finally, I can watch content from anywhere. No restrictions. It makes you wonder, beyond just entertainment, how else do these sort of hidden geographical digital barriers affect us? Maybe even our finances, in ways we don't immediately realize.
That's a really good question, and it ties perfectly into the third key advantage, strong personal data protection.
Okay, security.
Absolutely crucial. Think about it. You're traveling, maybe your phone signal is terrible, and you end up having to use that, questionable public Wi-Fi in a cafe or airport.
We've all been there.
Totally. Our sources really emphasize the peace of mind NordVPN gave them in those exact situations. It offers really strong encryption protecting your data when you're doing sensitive stuff like logging into your bank or typing in credit card details.
Yeah, the peace of mind is huge. There's that quote, right? No matter where I am, I never worry about data breaches anymore.
That's the one.
It really shows how this shifts from just an abstract idea of privacy to something tangible, real practical security for your most sensitive info. And NordVPN specifically uses things like AES 256 encryption. That's military-grade stuff.
Right.
It's the standard that governments, financial institutions, they all trust it. It makes your data incredibly hard to crack for most common threats out there.
Good to know. Okay, number 4 on our list, the ability to connect up to 10 devices.
Practical for families or gadget lovers.
Exactly. This isn't just about convenience, though. It means one single NordVPN subscription can cover pretty much a whole household. Your phone, your laptop, your tablet, maybe even your smart TV. All your gadgets get protected. So yeah, perfect if you've got a family or if you're just someone like me who seems to have way too many devices. It keeps everything consistent, digitally hygienic, you could say.
10 devices is pretty generous, actually.
It really is. And finally, reason number 5, a 30-day money-back guarantee.
The safety net.
Pretty much. And this isn't just standard practice. Our sources felt it really showed the company's confidence in its own product.
Makes sense.
It gives you a completely risk-free way to try it out. If you don't love it within 30 days, you get a full refund, no hassle.
Good to have that option.
Definitely. Okay, so those are the big whys. Now, let's get into some of the nitty-gritty, the practical stuff, the common questions people have about NordVPN. First one, always important. How much does it actually cost?
Right, the bottom line.
Well, it does depend on the plan you pick. They've got like 1 month, 1 year, and 2-year options.
Yeah.
Our source personally went for the 2-year plus plan. They felt it hit that sweet spot, had all the essential features, good price for the long term. But if you're really looking for the most budget-friendly way in, the 2-year basic plan can be super affordable. Sometimes during promotions, it can dip below like $2 a month.
Wow, okay. That's
Yeah.
pretty competitive. And thinking about it more broadly, understanding that kind of tiered pricing, it's really key for any digital subscription, isn't it?
How so?
Well, it helps you evaluate the long-term value. You're not just looking at the immediate cost, but thinking, okay, what am I actually getting over 2 years for this investment in, solid digital security and access?
That's a good way to look at it. And quickly, if you do have a discount code, where do you put that in?
Yes, the coupon hunt.
Ha, exactly. You just do it during checkout on their official website.
Right.
Look for a little link or box that says something like, have a coupon in the order summary bit. Okay, another common question. How many people or how many devices can use one account?
We touched on this, right?
We did, but it's worth repeating because it's a big plus. One account covers up to 10 devices at the same time. So yeah, great for a family, great if you just own a lot of tech.
10 is definitely a solid number.
Agreed. Next question, is it free?
The million-dollar question for VPNs.
Huh. Well, the short answer is no, NordVPN isn't a free service. But that 30-day money-back guarantee we mentioned, that basically lets you try it for a whole month completely risk-free.
So a trial period, essentially.
Exactly. Okay, what about if you're traveling? Can you connect back to your home country while you're abroad?
Good question for expats or travelers.
Absolutely. And the answer is yes. Because NordVPN has servers pretty much everywhere, in almost every country you can think of, you can easily connect back to your home region, even if you're on the other side of the world.
And that flexibility is a really significant benefit, isn't it? Whether you needed to, keep accessing your usual home streaming services or banking apps, or maybe it's just about that comfort factor, feeling digitally connected to home while you're away exploring. It helps maintain a bit of digital normalcy wherever you happen to be.
Definitely. Okay, next up. Do you need to keep your VPN switched on all the time?
The always-on debate.
Yeah. Our sources generally suggested, look, it's definitely best practice to turn it on whenever you're using public Wi-Fi. That's a must.
Absolutely.
And obviously turn it on when you want to access region-blocked stuff, or if you just want to hide your IP address for privacy. But, if you're at home on your own secure network that you trust, there's probably no critical need to have it running constantly. You can turn it off.
Makes sense. Use it when you need that extra layer.
Exactly. All right, the big one, maybe the ultimate question, is NordVPN actually good? Like, does it really work well?
Your verdict.
According to our source. Yes, absolutely. They were really clear on this. They praised the speed, the affordability, that multi-device support we talked about. And crucially, they said they'd had 0 complaints over several years of using it consistently.
That's a strong endorsement from long-term use.
It really is. Okay, what if you try it and decide it's not for you during that first month? How do you get that refund?
The exit strategy.
Oh, yeah. It sounds pretty straightforward. You just go to the NordVPN official website, find their customer support, usually a chat or email within that 30-day window,
Okay.
and they'll process the refund. Apparently, no hassle, no questions asked.
Smooth. Good to know.
Okay, what about using it with, say, Netflix? Is that legal?
The streaming service question. This comes up a lot.
I bet. So is it legal?
Legally speaking, yes. Using a VPN with Netflix isn't against the law in most places. However,
However.
there usually is.
Yeah.
It might go against Netflix's specific terms of service.
Okay. What does that mean practically?
Well, it brings up this important difference between what's strictly legal and what a private company outlines in its user agreement, its terms of use. Using a VPN isn't breaking the law, but a service like Netflix could, technically, reserve the right in their terms to maybe suspend or restrict your account if they detect you're using one to bypass regional restrictions because you agreed to their terms when you signed up.
I see. So legal, yes, but potentially against the rules of that specific service.
Exactly. It's a common sort of gray area in the digital world.
Gotcha. Okay, another security question. Can VPNs be hacked?
A valid concern.
Definitely. But as we kind of touched on earlier, NordVPN uses that heavy-duty military-grade encryption AES 256,
Right.
which makes it incredibly secure. Hacking that kind of encryption is exceptionally difficult, bordering on impossible for most attackers.
So highly secure.
Very. Okay, what about those free VPNs we mentioned people often try first? Why not just stick with one of those?
The lure of free.
It's tempting, right?
Yeah.
But our sources were pretty unanimous on this. While free sounds good, those services often come with some serious drawbacks, like much slower speeds, often data caps limiting how much you can use them, and potentially weaker security protocols. Some might even log your activity.
Not ideal if privacy is your goal.
Exactly. So for full protection, reliable performance, and peace of mind, a reputable paid option like NordVPN is just far more dependable and comprehensive.
You generally get what you pay for in this space.
It's that way. Okay, one last comparison point that came up. NordVPN versus Surfshark.
Another big name. How do they compare?
Our source felt both are actually really great options, very solid contenders.
Okay.
But personally, after looking closely at the speed tests, the specific features each offered, and thinking about the long-term value based on the pricing, they ended up choosing NordVPN.
So a personal preference based on their priorities.
Exactly. It came down to the overall package fitting their needs best.
Makes sense.
Okay, so let's try and sort of distill all of this. What does it all mean for you listening? We've looked at how something like NordVPN can really change your online experience, right? Taking you from those moments of pure frustration, whether it's hitting a region lock or just feeling anxious about using public Wi-Fi, and moving you towards a feeling of, well, freedom and genuine peace of mind online.
And what's really insightful, I think, is how this one tool, something pretty accessible, can tackle such a wide range of different needs.
Yeah.
From just kicking back and watching your shows to maybe saving actual money on travel bookings, all the way to properly safeguarding your really sensitive personal data online. It's quite a comprehensive approach to, let's call it, modern digital well-being. It does much more than just its basic job description.
That's a great way to put it. So what does this mean for your digital life, for you listening. I think it's really about using technology consciously,
Right.
using it to actually get back some control over your online world instead of feeling kind of limited or exposed by it.
Empowering yourself digitally.
Yeah, exactly. So here's maybe a final thought to chew on, something to think about after this. If using a tool like a VPN can unlock content you couldn't access before and maybe even save you real money in unexpected ways, what other seemingly small digital habits or tools might be out there? Things you haven't considered yet that could have similar, maybe unexpected, far reaching benefits for your privacy or your access to information or maybe even your wallet.